So I would like to introduce the next speaker, Mr. Paul Anderson. He's our VP of Wellbeing and Development, and Paul absolutely lives the values that he's about to talk about. He has taught our entire organization about the Go-Giver, about adding more value than you accept in return, and how powerful that can be in life. He's going to talk to you about the Well Building Initiative, and that combined with the CET toolkit, how we can create a better human experience in the built environment, whether it's a working environment, healing, learning, doesn't matter. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Paul Anderson to the stage.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Alrighty then. Woo! Again, woo! Oh, it's too bad that some of you aren't joining into that scream. One more time. Woo! Okay, wow. Who likes that experience? Who is enjoying the person beside them screaming like a child? Anybody? Oh, you, over here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I used to have a whistle that I used to start these little mini moments off that we're having together. And Ryan, of all people, took the whistle away from me because I whistled at in a dome building in an intercom system, and it was just like the worst thing that apparently could have ever happened to anybody. So running over, and he grabbed my whistle. So now I have to shriek like a child. But I'm shrieking like a child to share, really, a moment that some of us appreciate and some of us are really don't appreciate. And that is that we're hearing something that we really don't want to hear. Or perhaps we do want to hear it. We really don't know. But the point is, it's coming at us. And what I want to talk about in this moment is elements that are hitting you the same as sound is if someone were to scream or to blow the whistle. But you can't hear it, you can't smell it, you can't see it. But it's impacting your body. At a minimum, your immune system, your respiratory, and your cardiovascular system are being positively or negatively impacted while we're sitting in this room. And some of us are more sensitive and we're aware of it in a positive way, and some of us are not. So screaming like a child or blowing a whistle, we can all hear it so we can defend ourselves. But when we're actually being impacted negatively and it's impacting our body in the same way as the scream was, but we don't know it, that's what we're going to talk about. How can you mitigate that? How you can design to support that is going to be mitigated more and it's going to happen less. But before I get into that, I have to give this cup away. That's why I'm holding this cup. So Lauren Edonian from Office Images, where are you? Come on down. This is my part of the one of the concepts, which is fitness, which is movement. So she's now walking up on the stage. I just need 3 push-ups. That's all I need. Can you do it? All righty. That is awesome, man! Give me that. Wow. I think we need to give another $100 or something. I wasn't expecting that. That was awesome. That's called win at all costs. So let's get started. Although she stole the show, obviously. Let's get started, and we'll talk about how well-being influences design. I'm not swim with the Navy SEALs. I'm not an Olympic medalist like John was when he first came in, but I did win the 100 yards when I was at high school. Thank you. This accent is fake, or do you think it's real? Because I can talk like this as long as you want me to. How's y'all doing? Just so therapeutic when you talk in an American accent. That's why you all live so long. So we're talking about the experience, we're talking about the CET experience, and we're talking about, more importantly, what we're all doing together in this few days that we've spent together, which is really reinforcing connectivity. It's all about people. And the minute you can start to focus on people outside of yourself, then the minute you actually start to create an experience for them and for yourself that is an extremely positive one. And it's missing more than it should be in the world today, but this conference and this experience that we're having with CET it's been so powerful, I think, in connecting everybody together. I mean, connection is one thing, but educating everybody, listening to feedback and evolving new products in the future, and inspiring each other are key. We all like feed from that because there's less human-to-human connection that is happening in the world today based on technology. So I want to focus a little bit on this word because it's so important in today's world. Experience, if anyone's heard of Maya Angelou, she's known for the quote which says that people won't always remember what you said, they won't always remember what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And feeling is very, very powerful. And in human-to-human interaction, the more we can create the experience that is right for the other person with no emotional connection to wanting something ourselves, then the better it is for the world, for the humanity, and for the people that are evolving a culture such as we're in right now. In fact, the studies and the articles have reinforced that it's actually become the new brand. It's actually overtaken brand and price in terms of why decisions are made and why we're partnering with a company, why we're sort of merging and deciding to take one direction over another. It all comes down to the experience. That's why you see the malls trying to create the right experience, shops trying to create the right experience, trying to get people through not using the internet, obviously, and creating the right experience for their stores. But it all comes down to also what we're doing with our clients and how we're designing. And there's more live designing that's happening in front of clients right now that are really where we want to reinforce the right experience, where they can see exactly what it is that they are sort of wanting to accomplish, rather than seeing it flat on a piece of paper a week later. So the experience is very, very, very key. And so I take you to this quote, which really says that your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card, but how you leave others after an experience with you becomes your trademark. And, what trademark are we leaving when we're having a personal interaction? I would take this quote one stage further, and I would say that your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card, but how you leave others feeling after an experience with your design becomes your trademark. And when you actually design something that is focused on health and well-being of people, that's focused on them having a positive, passively, a positive experience, then you're doing an awful lot for the world. But more importantly, you're doing everything you can towards productivity, obviously, towards medical costs going down, everything. And that's really why I'm so blessed to be incorporated into this world of well-being, because it sort of fuses so well with technology when technology has the ability to be adapted to it, which is what Configura and CET are already looking at. How can we create the environment where you can pull what is needed in terms of products, and it will tell you how healthy this environment is? That's the future. So you may or may not be aware of the Well-Building Certification Program. I'm going to take you through a little bit of education on it because it's going to be very important to your lives. And I'd like to share why it's going to be important to your lives in the next few years, much more than it was in the previous few years, and how it was created and then what it involves, so that you actually have some understanding of how to articulate what it means to create health and well-being in your designs. Now, what I'm not reinforcing is that everybody should go out and suddenly start focusing on making the interiors well-building certified. This is about giving you some education that is a large body of work, 7 years, that supports a focus on health and well-being, and passively, whenever possible, to the people that are working within that interior. It isn't about suddenly reinforcing well-building on the outside of the door, although that would be ideal. It's about having better conversations, adding value to conversations, which is a huge part of what people are looking for in the future. Don't just come to me with a response to what I've asked for in a design, but add some more value to it in some ways that I hadn't expected, and then you'll start to win my trust and my business. So that's what this is all about. We know our environment is changing dramatically. Generations are coming into the workplace that are multiple. And I love a study that was done by Harvard a few years ago, actually 2 years ago, where they reached out to the workforce, 10,000 people, and they asked 15 questions. 2 of the questions they asked were linked to health and well-being. And the questions they asked that were linked to that health and well-being, one was, how important is health and well-being to you? How important is it that you take a proactive approach on your health and well-being? That was one of the questions. They got the responses back, they sorted them by age group, and they put them into generations. So when you look at the generations, we've got the traditionalists, the baby boomers, the Generation X, the millennials. Generation Z isn't quite there yet. But Who would you think was the generation that responded almost overwhelmingly with, yes, it's really important that I take a proactive approach to my health and well-being? And nobody answer, because this lady here, Molly, has the answer. Tell everybody, Molly.
That demands health and well-being?
Yes, which is the generation that they said, yes, absolutely.
Well, I'm a Gen X, so I would like to claim it, but it's probably the millennials.
Okay, so it's probably the millennials. Does anybody have anything different to say other than the millennials? Boomers, baby boomers. We have anything to the left? It's dead to the left. Anything more to the right? Are you all still out there? Goodness sake, come on. You'd think it would be the millennials, but it was not the millennials. Traditionalists, yes. Tracy's going, oh, it's interesting. This is getting interesting right now. So it was not the millennials. It was actually the traditionalists, which when you think about it, I mean, they're the oldest age group that are working today. It's like, well, I've got to look after myself. I'm not a traditionalist, but I'm just saying there. Look after myself and like, so the reverse question came up and it was asked, well, how important is it that the company you work for takes an interest in your health and well-being? Results came back, put it in by generations, and then the results came back as unanimously millennials. Now we're there. So, which is pretty interesting. Half of the workforce in North America are millennials. How do you attract them into your workforce? How do you create the environment, number one, to reinforce that they're going to be happy when they're there, is all built around what we're about to talk about. So our culture is changing. We have to respond to that. The other thing that we know is that views are changing. I mean, oh, gosh, I'm like doing this right now. Look at that. Just forgive me while I just play with myself. This is pretty awesome. I got a dog that when you do this, it's like jumps, it goes nuts. Have you ever tried that on a cat? Sorry. Keep it in your head. Keep it in your head, Paul. So angry with Paul right now. Get on with your presentation. Stop playing with the green button. So views are changing, which is what I said a couple of minutes ago. We know that walls are coming down and that the light is being exposed to many more people in the workforce, which is a great thing. So that's helping to support productivity and just health and well-being. We also know that where we're getting our food from is being put under a microscope. You know, you sort of walk through a market, and then if you go back to the market sort of a couple of days later, and if you were to mark a piece of meat on the back and you'd look at it and like, wow, that's still there and it's still really red. What's been injected into that piece of meat, I wonder, right? I mean, it's like we're more conscious of it because we're more exposed to what it means when it comes to what we're buying. Organic is becoming a key thing, and we also know that organic isn't fully organic because they can stop reinforcing all the organic elements for a couple of times in a year because they realize it can't be sustained as being pure organic. Otherwise, it wouldn't last 5 minutes. We also know that how we're getting around. There's even a bicycle day in America. Did anybody ride their bike to the CET experience? Shame on you. Don't care where you live. But movement is critical. Stress is on the rise. I mean, stress is like number one form of stress is overhearing other people's conversations and probably hearing this presentation right now. Probably stressing you all out right now. What's going on? But it's stress on us. So we have to start thinking differently. And I love this quote that says, the significant problems we face cannot be solved with the same level of thinking that we were at when we created them. What year did Donald Trump say that? Oh, it's more laughter this side than this side. That's interesting. Actually, it wasn't Donald Trump, but Justin Bieber. Who do you think was the very wise person that said this? What did he say? Obama. Could this person be in the room right now? Thank you for thinking it could be me. I edged you on like it was like I was trying to pull you in, right? So, but could it be? Could it be soon? Could it be Euron? Or could it be Johan? Take your pick. Huh? Yes. I would say that they all had this element, but they unfortunately weren't Einstein. Although I still think of all the things this person could have invented, and is that where is hair products? For crying out loud, you've got this huge brain and you're missing hair products. Give me a break. But I would like to think that what's been created within CET, and I think we should all thank them for that, is that, soon Joran and Johan all thought differently. That's why where we are today. And they continue to think differently, and that's what's evolving the company, that's what's evolving us being connected, because we want to be part of that innovative thought process, because it's helping to support our world in a really, really, really positive way. So when we go to the world building standard, we go to the International World Building Standard, who we looked for that started to think differently was this guy. His name was Paul Scialla. Such a brilliant first name. His name was Paul Scialla, and he was a partner at Goldman Sachs, if you don't know the story. He'd been a partner for about 20 years, incredibly successful, had 60 traders underneath him, and in 2002, he was handed interest rate products. And they said, Paul, you're making a killing. Go run with your traders, take your 60 people, and go kill the market. So for the first year, he went running with his interest rate products, and he was like hearing this word green, hearing this word sustainability. He's like, what's all this going on with this green, this sustainability? So 2003, he's going to his partnership, and they're saying, hey, you know what, you're killing it, keep on going. Largest asset class in the world is real estate. You keep going, man. So he kept going, but he got more intrigued with this word green. And he started asking the question, why isn't anybody talking about the people in the building? Why are we talking about ourselves? And so he decided in 2004 to put two people in a room, and he said, if you could dream up preventive medical intentions that would have a healthy impact on the people that are working in this room passively whenever possible, what would they look like? What do you think the two professions were of the people that he asked to do that? Go on. I know you know the answer. Oh, you look like you did. So angry with you right now. Give me all these positive vibes. It's like me, me, me. Any idea? Do you think so? An architect was one, and a doctor. Just took us 2,000 years. Do you think we ought to put a doctor and an architect in the room? If you believe in evolution. Yes, I think we should do that. So there's two people come in the room, interior designers get on board. We now fast forward from 2004 to 2011. 105 people are involved in answering that question. 105 people involved in answering that question. And in 2012, Bill Clinton endorsed the well-building certification program and said, this is going to change the way people work and function in a very, very, very positive way. This is us, guys. This is about humanity. This is about us looking after ourselves. The planet, absolutely, but we also have to look after ourselves. And what happened was that Paul was going to, before Bill got involved, little Bill, Paul was going to take one building in New York, and he was going to make it well. So he walked into the building, and it was like, oh, this is an awesome experience right now. And what happened is that people got so involved with what he was going to do that were pretty high-profile people. People like Deepak Chopra, little Leonardo DiCaprio, and Bill Clinton, and said, no, this needs to be a global initiative. So it became a global initiative that was launched at the Clinton Global Initiative in 2012. And it really took this focus of such a global phenomenon that we really didn't hear much about it for a few years until this guy came along. And this is the guy who actually is responsible for putting LEED on the map. Or I'm sure familiar with LEED. So Rick Fedrizzi was the person that really created the infrastructure, the accreditation system, and said, oh, this is the way we're going to start to build in the future for the environment, which is a really, really good thing. But he became the chairman and CEO of the International World Building Institute in November 2016. And it's from that standpoint that we start to sort of see some things that were changing, especially in our furniture environment. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to start to hear more about it, because we've now got Well version 2, which is like another standard that is helping to lower the benchmark for entry, if you will, without degrading the So he's number one. Number two is this little number called 1.73%. CBRE is the very first in downtown Los Angeles interior to be certified as a well building interior. It achieved it with 54 inputs. And if you ever get the chance to go to Los Angeles, apart from going there for everything else you want to go for, you can tour their facility. They've had 16,000 tours. And it's quite an experience when you walk into this interior. In fact, when I first walked in there, I was just blown away. And And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, all I want to do is sniff the air. Like, my God, this air quality is great. This is awesome right now. Like, you okay? No, just sniffing the air because I'm feeling like there's something really serious going on right here, right now. But it was a pretty awesome experience. In fact, everyone was really happy. So happy that because they're so close to Hollywood, I was thinking that they'd actually hired extras to be able to reinforce what a great environment this was. Where was the hidden money that was being taken place? But the point that I'm making is that it isn't a high cost of entry. 1.73% to be able to achieve well building an interior or a building is not a lot of money when you take into account what it's going to do. A lot of people used to think it was 15, 20%, which was the cost of entry of lead, which has come down a lot. So that's the other reason. This is the other reason, staywell. Has anyone ever stayed in a staywell room? Oh, have you got an experience coming out for you? So staywell room. So MGM were the first to introduce this in Las Vegas. Deepak Chopra led this initiative. And basically what he said is that I'm going to create staywell rooms which support health and well-being. So you walk into the MGM Grand. Be like you walking into the MGM Grand, which you probably do quite often. No? Okay. Have you ever been to the MGM Grand? Okay, good. Then you walk in, imagine you're walking in. Imagine a place, OFS. Imagine MGM. Just getting a plug in there, everybody. So you're walking and I say, welcome to the MGM Grand. What's your name?
Magus.
Magus? That's an awesome name. I want that name. Magus. Welcome, Magus. Would you like a staywell room or would you like a standard room? What's going to be your answer? Awesome. Okay. Yes. Okay. Normally it's like, I want the staywell room. Like, wise man. You must be from international waters. No? You from? So what's it going to cost? Well, a staywell room is $245 for the night. A standard room is $195 for the night. Guess what you're going to say next? You'd go for a standard room. So angry with you going for a standard room. If I could do it for the same cost, will you take the staywell room? Okay, now you want it. Now you want it. Okay, all right. Typically what people are going to say is like, what's the cost and what do I get? Well, what you get when you walk into a staywell room, the first thing you're going to experience is posture-supportive flooring. We put caulking under the wood, so when you walk in, it's actually supporting your posture. When you breathe the air, there's nothing less than 2.5 particles of mass that's floating around. So the air quality is going to be unbelievable, just like you got off a plane in Colorado. When you go to take a shower, which we hope you're going to do while you're here, don't be alarmed, because actually coming from the faucet, you'll see an orange liquid in a small capsule that the water comes through. And that's vitamin C. So what it's doing is it's extracting all the chlorine so that you actually get water filtration from the chlorine. The other thing that you're going to have is you're going to have the ability to be able to drink water that has been purified by carbon and sediment filters. And you're going to experience dawn-simulated lighting that's actually going to infuse and act like medicine to your body. When you're here, if you sleep and you don't gamble, you decide to sleep, then you're going to sleep on a mattress that's made of tree sap. There is zero off-gassing. We had 43 mattress companies that wanted to put the mattresses into our rooms, and we decided on an Essentia mattress because it was made of tree sap. And if you aren't comfortable when you're here and you do feel unwell, then we're going to link you through an app to Cleveland Clinic. And you can ask a doctor a medical question, any medical question for the time of your stay, and they will answer your question within the hour. And then when you come to room service, should you require room service, we have healthy items that are focused for you to be able to support nutrients that are micronutrients, not macronutrients. Would you like the room for $245? They paid for their program within 6 weeks. So the fact that we now know that people are willing to pay a little bit more, apart from Magus, people are willing to pay a little bit more, then, hey, this means we can break ground and we can start to build to support that. These are some of the staywell rooms that are being supported. You've got the Four Seasons, you've got the Ritz, you've got the Wyndham, you've got the Marriott. There are now 2,853 staywell rooms in North America. If you ever get the experience, try it, because it is a different experience for you. And it's one that I think is going to become a standard based on the future of where we're going and the importance of health and well-being to our world. So return on investment is yet to start to be realized to the degree in which we're getting discounts, but most importantly, productivity increases have absolutely gone up. I think there was one article I read the other day where the third out of the three elements, which was people, culture, the third element was how you design the office design space, as well as attracting people back to work. So the fact that you created an environment that's conducive to someone's health is reinforcing the fact that if they can work satellite, they decide to come in to the office. So CBRE were the first to reinforce productivity increases because people were choosing to work in the office rather than from home, which is a pretty thing. But I think the most important element of all is the next slide, which is really reinforcing the law of attraction. All things being equal, if you have the ability to walk into a company that has governed a system that supports your health and well-being for the 9 hours you're there, I think it means a lot. There are a lot of companies which are saying, hey, we love our people and come and work for us, but they haven't even paid attention to some of the things I'm about to share. And I think it's important, and I would hope you would too, that if you had the choice, that you'd prefer to work into a company that has put a focus on the things we're about to talk about, rather than the company that hasn't, but has on the wall, we love our employees and we hug a lot. In fact, at 4 o'clock, we have a group hug, if you're welcome. Will you join us now? No, I don't think so. So all of these elements are one thing, but you're all saying, well, it's all very well, Paul, it's all very well. How is the well traction going? Great question. Going to ask that. So let's look. This is January 2019. You can go to wellcertified.com. You plug in explore projects, and this is what comes up. 2019, 1,416 were the projects, 285 million. I downloaded this information last night. We've gone from 285 million to 455 million. 10 months. This isn't going away. It's only getting more and more important, and it's only going to become more and more part of our world. So this is what you can capture when you click on a state. This is, for example, Florida. We're in Florida right now. What's fascinating about this, you've got 350,000 square feet. Somebody's saying they're registered for well certification. You've got 12,000 square feet. So this isn't large spaces. This is people walking into a company saying, this is important to me and my culture, that we support the health and well-being of people in this one room that might be 2,000 square feet out of this 50-story building. So it's important for us to know that. Sweden is got 20 projects right now. United States leads the way. Europe is second. And what's awesome is that China is third. 450 registered projects in China because they're saying, hey, this is important. This is global. Because it's about people. It's about us looking after ourselves and doing some elements that aren't really more expensive, but more intelligent choices that support health and well-being. So when you're designing, it isn't about you reinforcing stuff that's going to cost a lot more money. It's about just thinking a little bit and putting a focus on something that's going to change the trajectory and make someone feel differently once they're experiencing the environment that you've designed. So the yellow line is lead, and the blue line is well. The yellow line signifies, the bottom is the months after the standard. So the vertical line going up to the left is how many square feet they had captured. So we want to share you this. If we go forward to 9 months, lead had achieved about 6 million square feet, and they were rocking it. We're talking the alcohol, the music, the party, banners going around 6 million square feet. This is awesome, 6 million square feet. So now we go to well, and we go 9 months after launch, and they have achieved 21 million square feet. 300% increase compared to the same time since the launch. So they were overwhelmed. They got the water out, they got the classical music out, they relaxed. So this is awesome. Awesome, let's make it all well for ourselves. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that the focus on health and well-being was so much more, in terms of its impact and faster, than the focus on lead and the building? Why would you think that would be? People, absolutely. Number one, there was already an infrastructure in place because they're familiar with lead. Number two was people, because it's personal. Number three was the cost, was realized that it wasn't going to cost as much as what lead was going to. So well is for people like leaders for the building. These people were miserable before they were working in a well building. Now they're incredibly happy. In fact, the lady on the left, the far left, was working on 2020, and she's working on CET. She's got the biggest smile of all of them right now. All of them right now. So we spend 90% of our time indoors, so we want to unlock the potential of people when they're working indoors. We want them jumping and happy and engaged and excited, because you've designed something that gives them energy. That's what we're looking to accomplish and energize them throughout the day. What we don't want is them to start to experience some of these things. This is not good for the world. It's not good for us. I mean, have you ever packed your gym shoes in the morning at 6 and it's got to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you are pumped up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go and work out and it gets to 2 o'clock and you go like, I'm not going to work out. Just want alcohol or something. It's been a really crazy day. And my question is, what happened? What happened from the time you got in to the time you felt, I don't want to do that anymore? We often don't know, but something happened because if we had a great experience and everything was working well, it could have been the environment, it could have been the water, it could have been a number of things that stopped us from wanting to continue to do that. That's where well-building comes in because it says, hey, we're going to stop that. We're going to reinforce something that's going to help to support your focus and your blood flow and your chemical flow and your emotional state, your mental state for the time that you are working here so that you still want to do the things that you wanted to do when you first came in. So it's all about investing in people. We've triggered off nearly a $4 trillion industry by focusing on sustainability and green. That's the two left areas there, the 1% and the 9%. We're now talking about 90% of the cost of a building over 30 years, which is the people in the building. We're finally talking about us. I mean, it's really, really awesome to have lead in place. I mean, for the planet, it's just unbelievable to think that we can create environments where there's less wastage of water, consumption of electricity, just waste in general, and that what the building is not impacting the outer part. But I've yet to see anybody walk into a walk into a lead interior, and when they walk in, go, oh, finally I'm in this lead building. So happy to be here right now. I'm so energized because this is a lead building. I'm going to work so hard today. They should pay me more money for the work I'm going to do today. You don't often see that or experience that. You just walk in and go, it's a good thing. But when you walk into a well interior, you actually feel it. You feel the difference in the air quality. You see the difference in what you're experiencing visually. And that supports everything that we want to have happen for the time that we're working. So it's all about investing in the right places. So they do work harmoniously together, though. In fact, if you are designing for a lead interior or lead building, and it's already lead or interior building, about 20% of what is going to help it get to WELL certification is already in place because of the air and the water to some degree. But the WELL certification process, just to give you a snapshot, from the time you register, you go to wellcertified.com, you have 5 years in which to complete the registration. Where WELL is different from LEED is that you actually have to recertify every 3 years, which is a good thing, because things have to be kept and maintained. That's why you're going to be more involved with human resources in your world in the future, because human resources are reinforcing a lot of the administration of supporting the elements that the International World Building Institute are saying need to be supported, which is a cool thing. There also needs to be a performance verification. So from the time you register, when you say I'm ready to go, you can't get the banners out and the alcohol out. I keep talking about alcohol, I'm sorry. You can't get the banners and alcohol out, but you actually have to wait for them to come in and say, yes, everything is checked. The air, the water, the thermal temperatures, all those elements. So this is a good thing because it's supporting sustainability of the standard, which is really important. There is a WELL AP program. If anybody's interested in becoming a WELL AP and learning more about it, because it's such a personal thing, just let me know. You should be motivated because I'm a WELL AP. And you're like, wow, that guy can do it. It's a cakewalk. But it really is personal, so it's easy to learn. So it's and it adds value. Again, more about adding value to the conversation outside of what people expect. There's 3 levels of WELL, silver, gold, and platinum. Out of the 100 features you can put into an interior or building, if you just say what's the baseline, the minimum qualifications, just give me 36 of the 100. That's all we're looking for to achieve implementation. And it is about design, operations, and behavior. That's why culture. This is why we get companies with 2,000 square feet and companies with 200,000 square feet that are reinforcing that they want this standard, because it's not just about design, it's about what's happening in the working environment every day that needs to be looked at. There are 7 concepts: air, water, nourishment, light, fitness, comfort, and mind. They affect 11 areas of our body, and you may be surprised if you look down on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, our integumentary systems are being affected right now. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about your integumentary system being impacted by the environment? I always get a hush moment right now. You don't know what it is? I'm so angry with you right now not knowing what my integumentary system is. It's your hair, skin, and nails. And I didn't know, that's why I had to Google it. That's why when I first came in, my hair was really shiny when I first came in. It's dulling. It's dulling a little bit right now. So concept number one. When I do what concept number one was, do you remember? Thank you. This side is so much more powerful than this side right now. Air quality. Number one cause of premature mortality in the world today is poor air quality. In fact, it's been measured to be 4 or 5 times worse indoors than outdoors. But who cares? When was the last time somebody asked in their building, when were these filters last changed? Yeah. So why should we care? Just number one cause. I don't believe it. Just keep on breathing this air. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome right now. So how much air do we breathe a day? Why should we care? How much air do we breathe a day? In gallons or liters? Go on, Yoram. I know you know. You're an intelligent guy. You know. No, you don't know. You don't know. No one's answering my questions. What's going on with this? It's a conspiracy. So 4,000 gallons, 15,000 liters. We breathe this every day. We go and breathing it. We're even in like treadmills in gyms, just like breathing in this air. It's all good. It's all good. It's like, but we don't even know. We don't even care. We should care. God damn it. We should care. Because it's impacting what we're doing in terms of how we're performing. So what can we incorporate into an interior as designers, pulling from your enormous amount of experience, what can we incorporate into an interior to clean the air? Bless you. Say it one more time. No, it's plants. You said plants? Plants. Plants, Mom. Plants! For goodness sake. It's plants. Plants. We can incorporate plants. This is what they did in New Delhi. New Delhi. Is anyone going to New Delhi for a vacation this weekend? Okay, worst air quality in the world is in New Delhi. But this one building in New Delhi put in 1,500 plants so that when the air came through, it would filter and clean when it went into the building, which is an awesome thing, awesome thing. So plants. But what kinds of plants, is I've got to kill those bugs. So well gives you a point if you put plants. It gives you 3 points if you put plants into an interior. And then if you actually have a spray that is green, it's like a mustard, that gives you another point. We're already 2 points down from 36, we're already down to 34 right now. It's a good thing. If you're designing where there are operable windows, then within half a mile of the building, they need to put a thermometer or some special device which reinforces ozone quality and that there's nothing less than 10 PMI, particles of mass, floating around. This is a good thing because number one cause of premature mortality, so we should really care. If you don't go back to your offices and just say, when was the last time these filters were changed? Shame on you. Shame on you. So a well interior also says we want MERV 13 or higher filtration that actually captures all the carbon. So the carbon is going to capture all the poor things. So air quality is a big deal. I love that little button that shows that little red light coming up right now. So we know that we have to look at products that we're going to start to incorporate into our design to see what are the off-gassing elements. That's obviously a key element. It's like a no-brainer. It's probably the heaviest of all the concepts in terms of wow, but it's actually the most important because we're breathing. So we're now going to concept number 2, which do you remember was? Not this side. No, this side is awesome, so this side. I want you to be awesome too. Say again. No. Thank you. Water. So, trying to train you, educate you on what's going on with your minds. Water, plants, vitamins, what's going on? So water. So we may or may not be aware, but well is all about throwing you more water. If you see water, you will drink water. So you cannot design fountains, architects or designers, around corners anymore. Because a well interior says that every 100 feet you must have visible access to water. You must see it. Because if you water, then you hydrate. Now what does water do? If you drink water, what is it doing to our body? Hydrating. Yes, hydrating. Obviously, hydration is important, but what is also important is our body temperature. Yeah, so when you're drinking water, what you're actually doing is regulating your internal body temperature too. It actually acts as a shock absorber for your spine and your brain. That's why if you drink too much alcohol, wake up in the morning, you drink a lot of water, it's all good. Not that I've ever got hungover, but I'm just letting you know. It's what you do. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So water is important. The filtration that you put in water has to be a sediment or a carbon filter. They need to be changed. If the mouth guards are there daily, the water filters need to be changed quarterly. Just like the air filters in a well interior need to be changed quarterly. These are all things that are really good for us because they support our ability to maintain and concentrate and focus and do everything that we need to do to support our world. So now we get into concept number 3, which of course was... Yes! Thank you! Thank you for saying it so emotionally. You're obviously connected to it. So let medicine be thy food and food be thy medicine. Who said that? Einstein didn't say everything. Hippocrates. Hippocrates said that. So tell us, the only thing I know. Biggest word I know is Hippocrates. So when you're working in a well interior, what well says is we want to pay attention to our snack machines. So snack machines, there's nothing more than 30 grams of sugar, and that's a lot. We also want to reinforce portion control. Number one thing apparently that has doubled since 1950, according to Dr. Michael Rosen from Cleveland Clinic, is portion sizes. Right? So in other words, we're actually creating more of a situation for ourselves because our plates are getting bigger. That's why it's criminal when you go into these frozen yogurt stores with a 10-year-old and you go like self-serve, there you go, darling, like, whoa, what's the smallest cup? And it's like a jumbo cup. Shame on those jumbo cup people. Shame on them. What it's also saying is that we want to pay attention to people's allergies. We don't want to section anyone out anymore. So we want to reinforce that if you have a cafeteria, that we're reinforcing vegan, soy, all the things that are really putting people in a minority sometimes, which is great. Because, you know, often at OFS, it's like we have our national meetings, and then it's like, oh, everyone's all excited, it's a national meeting, OFS kind of like that. Oh, but Paul's going to be there. What's wrong with Paul? Oh, he's a vegan, he's dairy-free, he's... Not anymore, because we're becoming well-registered, well-certified, baby. And then you know what happens? Everybody takes the good stuff. Everyone takes the vegan stuff and the dairy-free stuff, and it's all left like, where's my stuff? That's what happens. So nourishment is a cool element. Now, as designers, you're going to be asked, could you design some mindful eating areas for me? Thank you. So if you're a designer and you're being asked at the end there, what's your name? Leanne. Welcome to the meeting. Leanne, would you design some mindful eating areas for us? Thank you very much, because we're working for well building. Thanks a lot. Okay, thank you, bye. What will you be doing right now? Yeah. I think you would. What would you think? You'd probably search the Google engine, right? Google engine. Google it. Mindful eating areas. Paul wants it. What's going to happen? So anyone have any idea what a mindful eating area would be? Exactly. It's an area where two people can sit and eat together. Because when you eat at the desk on your own, apparently you eat more than when you eat with another person. Yes, big ooh. Big ooh right now going on right in this room. How fascinating is that? That like, oh wow, do you think we should actually put a table and 2 chairs there so that people can actually sit and eat together because they're going to eat less than when they eat on their own? This is good. This is that important that 105 people said, yeah, this is one of those things. It's a pre-qualification. Portion control. Absolutely. Plates can be no more than 9.5 inches. Cups no more than 8 milliliters, and bowls 10 milliliters. We want to limit the portions that are being put in. That's why the good food at the beginning, run at the end in a cafeteria. Because we want to start helping our people to help themselves. So what are the 2 elements that they also say, if you're going for well building, that you want to put into your cafeteria that kill type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease? They reverse them dramatically. What are those 2 things you think that would be? Avocados. Jelly babies? Oh, come on. Yes, fruits and vegetables. You should be proud to say it. Say it one more time. Yeah, fruits and vegetables. Apparently 92 and 94% of people in North America don't eat enough of them. Just like air quality, who cares? Well, it's time to start caring. Because more is expected of us in our jobs and our work. Clients are expecting more of us, so we want to be on top form when we're interacting and having that conversation. And food is critical. Food is huge. Even how you show food so that it actually gets taken first because it's better stuff. My kids only eat broccoli now. They don't love me anymore, but they're healthier. So even if you have access to a vegetable garden, the World Building Standard says, we're going to give you a point for that. Why would they give you a point? Because you have access to a vegetable garden. But do you think you eat more vegetables if you're actually growing vegetables? You do. It's a fact. So let's get on to concept number 4. Enough of concept number 3. That went on too long. I felt that went on too long. So let's go on to concept number 4, which was light. Is this room awesome for light right now? No. Far too much melatonin being produced right now. Far too much melatonin. So what's fascinating about the well building is they're more focused on the light color being more daylight. And so if you think and you go back to the olden days, we're all linked to our circadian rhythm, which is that 24-hour cycle where our body is like trying to take in light and it's trying to do something. So imagine in the olden days, this is a cave entrance. So I'm coming from my cave, right? So I'm waking up and I'm coming out and I'm like, oh, I've got a loincloth on and everything. It's all very PG. I'm like, oh, it was just like post those times. I'm like, man, so I'm starting, so as I'm coming out of the cave, what's leaving me is melatonin. What is being produced in my body is serotonin, cortisol. So I need to go out and slay an elk. I need to go and slay. Forget I said that. I'm thinking of Will Ferrell right now, the elf movie. Sorry. Gonna go and slay an elk. Or if you don't like animals being slayed, I'm gonna get some plant-based protein to bring back for my children, right? So I go out, and then so I'm out and I'm fighting, and I've got my bow and arrow, and I'm doing all these things, and then it gets about 4 o'clock, and then I feel a little bit tired. It's been a busy day. And then I'm like, what's happening? And so what's starting to happen is that good old melatonin's coming back. So angry at that melatonin, I still got to kill something. Cortisol's starting to come back. Well, imagine working in that environment. Imagine working in the environment where you have far too little light in the day and far too much at night. Your circadian rhythm is taking in that light to be able to try and balance it. And we're not doing it justice if we're not supporting the right quality of light. And the reason we know this is because 15 years ago it was identified that when you had a new ganglion cell in our eye, and that ganglion cell was doing more than just vision. It was actually taking in light, and it was trying to balance our circadian rhythm. This is the first emphasis of like, wow, light is important. So task lighting, ambient lighting, a lighting that's 300 lux minimum in an interior, 215-inch stairways, that's what the well building reinforces. Solar glare control, right light, daylight fenestation, having access to the windows are coming to a lot of people. All of this is reinforcing that light is like medicine, it's fusing our body. If I were to open these walls right now and let daylight come in, energy would be totally different here right now. Totally different. Be far more relaxed. It wouldn't. It would be far more, and I'll just see if you're still listening. It would be far more energy going on in the room right now. So light is a critical component of the well building program because it's probably the number one thing you do for productivity. Task lighting, ambient lighting, all of those elements. So we're now on to concept number 5. We're nearly there. Concept number 5 is, of course, you say it this side of the room. Fitness. Yes, starts with an F, ends with an S. Fitness. Interior active design, exterior active design. This is reinforcing getting people to move. I mean, the last 40 minutes of me walking around, I've burnt 51 calories more than you. Sorry, it's just the way it is. But it's even the study that's done that says if you stand up for 2 minutes every hour, apparently you'll elongate your life by 6 years. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm willing to do that. If you want to stand up right now, you're welcome to do that just to elongate your life. It's my gift to you. My gift to you. So how can you promote movement? Statues outside, obviously. Pointing people to the stairs is a really big deal. Just putting a sign saying, please use the stairs is awesome for more than a one-story building. Otherwise, it's cruel. I've had that happen to me once. I'm not going to had that happen to me once. So stairs, as designers, what can we do to get people pointing to the stairs apart from putting a sign? This is a typical stairway. 5-star hotel in San Francisco. And I've been used to taking the stairs now. It's freaked me out a lot of times, but it's like, this is one picture I took, and unfortunately technology nowadays still doesn't allow you to extract the smell that you experienced when you were taking the picture. But this is typically what it is. Who wants to take these stairs? No one. What design thought was put into these stairways? None. So you now take somebody that said, you know what, I'm going to pay attention to this. 2 students who reinforced pointing people to the stairs, and this is what they did. I'm not saying it's the best design in the world, but now there's a talking point. So a well interior says, let's reinforce music on the stairs, windows when we can, artwork. This is all cool, because it gets people moving. Any architects in the room? Are you an architect? No? Shame on architects. I'm so angry with architects. And if you don't believe me, you will get angry with architects too if you start using the stairs. Because you know what happens? Is you start to use the stairs, you're like, okay, elevator, no, you can use the stairs right now. So you go to the stairs, you walk around, you walk around, you walk around, and you walk around, and you go like, yeah, I'll be with you, darling, shortly. I'm just using the stairs while using the elevator. Yeah, okay, yeah, and you walk around, and then you come out, and you're like, oh my God, where am I? Dallas was the worst experience of my life. I actually texted my wife, darling, I love you. Just let you know. Because I came out of this one place, and I imagined coming out, and I went, and there was like people that I hadn't experienced. Has anyone seen Bonfire of the Vanities? It was like, there was like homeless people, there was a really weird guy doing some weird stuff. There was everything but like, needles hanging around. And I'm like, so of course, what do you go and do? You got to get back in the building. And like, oh my God, can't get, hi, how you doing? Everybody's like, yeah, hi, how are you? You look awesome, by the way. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, that's exactly what happened. Bad news, architects. Start bringing me out where I actually feel like I'm in an environment that is like where I started off with. So stairs are a big deal. Let me use them. Let's walk and talk. So a well building says active furnishings. Give me active furnishings that allow me to move while I'm actually working. Create a structured fitness program. Let's put a fitness center in if we can. Let's educate me. Let's do bicycle racks, punch repair kits available, showers. All that's part of a well interior in terms of the fitness. So we're finding concept number 6, which is, of course, comfort. I said it before you. So this is thermal comfort, this is olfactory, and this is acoustic comfort. The number one cause of frustration in the workplace is overhearing other people's conversations, apparently, and hearing this conversation, perhaps. But how do you stop that? Obviously, sound masking, noise levels are mitigated because all part of the well building says we want to actually rate and reinforce conference rooms are down to a certain decibel, so therefore the walls and all the furniture that's in there and the sort of covers over the furniture are all part of what we want to reinforce is absorbing sound reverberation times. Thermal temperatures are a key thing. As designers, how do we support that? Technology allows us to reinforce better thermal considerations for everybody because you can now do zones, which is a cool thing. And then you've also got the fact that we want to reinforce smell. I mean, you can get a sore throat or eye irritation if you smell something you're not comfortable with. So all this is mitigated in a well interior because it's just a focus. It's not more expensive. So we finally got on to concept number 7. This is the one that's closest to our hearts of design. And it starts with an M and ends with a D. And of course it's yes. Did you say that? You said that. Wow, that's awesome. I mean, that you held it that long. With... I know, I can feel like you were waiting. We were waiting for something. I wasn't sure what it was. Now I know. It's awesome. Just had a mini moment together. Yeah, thank you. I need all the gifts I can get right now. So mind. Mind is this final concept. And this is how important what we're designing is to the people that are experiencing the design we've created. Our mind affects everything in terms of our attitude, our direction, and more importantly, our productivity. So there was a study done by Roger Ulrich from Sweden, 1984, and it was the first study that was really reinforcing that what we're seeing is impacting our blood flow, our chemical flow. It's impacting our emotional state, our mental state. And what Roger Ulrich wanted to do, you can Google it, Roger Ulrich, 1984 study, it was reinforcing that when you see something, it's impacting your whole body. And so he said, I'm going to take people who've had a gallbladder operation, no idea why he picked gallbladder operation, but I'm going to actually take them and I'm going to actually see how they respond to medication by putting them in a room without a view and putting some of them in the room with a view. So imagine all of you have had a gallbladder operation and you're feeling awesome, but just uncomfortable. So I'm putting you in a room and the room doesn't have a view, but you're comfortable and you're happy because you're still alive. Welcome. And then you are all you've just had your gallbladder operation and you're awesome, but uncomfortable, but you all have a room with a view. So I'm going to you and say, would you like any more medication? And you're like, no, I'm fine, thank you. And you're like, would you like any more medication? Yes. Oh my Lord, yes. Then I'm saying, well, okay, so medication is strong enough? No, I want stronger. And you're saying, no, I don't. Actually, my strength of my medication is fine. So the people with the view, who you think would want to stay longer because they have the view, are saying, can I leave now? The people without the view are saying, can I stay a bit longer? That's how impactful what we're seeing is. Biophilia. The studies that are reinforced in that situation where they were seeing biophilia reinforce everything that's happening in our body. So my recommendation to you, if you haven't already, is this is what I do, and I'm just sharing a moment right now. So this is biophilia. It's awesome. It smells awesome. And just looking at this right now is having a positive impact on your health and well-being. And I'll tell you why I know this for a fact. Because when I learned this 2 years ago, I'm like, okay, let's try this out. So I got home one evening, and my wife had called me 7 times, from 3 o'clock till like 5 on a plane. And I get in the door, and she's like, what have you done? And I'm like, sorry, darling? What have you done? I was like, sorry, sweetheart? So she's like, Paul, what have you done? I'm like, baby? So all going to be fine. The motorcycle was not that expensive. It was not that expensive. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this is going to calm you down right now. And it did. It did for about 10 seconds. And then she slapped me, God damn it. Slapped me. But I still have the motorcycle, so it all worked out. It all worked out. So biophilia is like a cool thing. In fact, just me showing you this, just that, is reinforcing 40 seconds is giving you a 6% increase in concentration. You're now actually listening to what I'm saying since I've given you a little biophilia moment, which is awesome. So as designers, we want to put biophilia on the walls. We want to put it everywhere because then people will walk and talk, right? Locus of control, adaptable spaces. We're creating spaces with a smaller footprint because we want more people in less space. But it actually is better for people when they have the ability to go and focus in an area or restore and just relax or discover new ways of doing stuff or connect with people without even using those spaces that are accessible to them because they're adaptable. Their mental state is totally different. They don't even have to use them. They just know they're there. So that's another thing that is reincorporated in the well-building standard. So that was Well version 1. Well version 2 has said we want to make this even more accessible for people. So what they're doing is saying, let's take the 7 concepts I've just shared with you and make them 10. This is why this is going to become such a huge part of your world when you're designing in the future. You're going to have end users that are saying, I need Well version 2 or Well version 1 incorporated into this design. This is why this is important for you to know this. 7 concepts have come to 10 because what they wanted to do in Well version 2 was still give you the air, water, nourishment, and light and fitness, but let's take the comfort and mind and let's expand it and make it broader for people to be able to achieve this standard based on their own culture of being more linked to materials or sound or community, which is a cool thing. So that really means that we're also going to reduce the barriers. Instead of 36 minimum qualifications, just give me 23. So again, this is why it's going to become part of your world. This is what this lady in Alabama thought when I shared this with her the other day. She was like, whoa, that's awesome. So you're creating and designing an environment where people are walking in and they're being infused with this awesome air quality. They can hydrate whenever they want to. They've got nourishment that isn't full of sugar. They've got lighting that's fusing and empowering their body. They've got the ability to walk and talk. And they've got the ability to be comfortable in the thermal temperatures that you've created. And then they've got the awesome situation where you've reinforced this beauty and biophilia around them. That's a pretty awesome experience. That's like a boom moment right now. Huge boom going on right now. Any questions? Would anybody like this? I think